My fingers rested on the cool marble countertop, the condensation from a glass of untouched whiskey blooming around the edges. I could hear their laughter filtering from the living room, high, bright, and utterly devoid of genuine warmth. They were her friends, her audience, and tonight I was the main act. It wasn't the noise that held me, but the rhythm, a specific kind of forced merriment I'd learned to recognize, the pre-show buzz before the real performance. Sarah, my wife, had been preparing for this night for weeks, though she'd called it a charity gala after-party. I called it a staging. The subtle shift in her voice on the phone, the way she kept glancing at me from across the table, a predatory calculation hidden behind wide, innocent eyes. She wasn't looking at me, she was looking through me, practicing the lines she was about to deliver. This was the quiet, cold heart of our marriage, a performance for her status, her vanity, and her circle of disgustingly wealthy, bored spectators. Tonight's show, the tragedy of our boring marriage. The grand finale, the breakup. I'd caught the edge of the plan 3 days ago, a single line in a text thread she'd carelessly left open. He doesn't suspect a thing. I'll make it a clean cut, emotionally devastating, for the drama. You guys watch my face. I'm going for subtle anguish. It wasn't an affair that poisoned me. It was the manipulation. The fact that my life, my love, was being used as cheap entertainment for her friends. The cold rage settled deep in my chest, not burning, but crystallizing into something sharp and perfect. The whiskey was still untouched when Sarah swept into the kitchen. She didn't look at me, but at her reflection in the darkened window, smoothing a wrinkle from her dress. I knew the moment she was ready. She turned, her face a masterpiece of controlled sadness, her eyes already wet with glycerin tears I hadn't seen her apply. "We need to talk," she whispered, the tremor in her voice perfectly pitched to carry. I didn't move. I simply watched the doorframe, knowing the others were pressed just beyond it, ears straining, phones perhaps discreetly recording. "It's over, Mark. I need my freedom. I can't do this anymore." Her voice broke exactly on cue. "We've grown apart. I've been unhappy for months. I want a divorce." She was performing a scene of genuine heartbreak, designed to make her look strong, regretful, and ultimately liberated. A beat of silence. I could feel the invisible audience holding its breath. The silence was the weapon. I met her eyes. My expression was empty. No shock, no pain. Only an eerie, profound calm that stole the light from her dramatic performance. The script called for me to plead, to argue, to shatter. I took a slow breath, the air cold in my lungs. I nodded once, a barely perceptible movement. "Done," I said. The single word was a shot in the silence. It wasn't loud, but it had the weight of concrete. Sarah's rehearsed shock wavered, her teary facade cracked. I walked toward the kitchen door, toward the expectant shadows. Her friends, seeing me approach, scrambled back. I caught the tail end of a smothered laugh, quickly turning into a cough. I paused, looked directly at the nearest shadow, the woman Sarah hated most, and raised my voice just enough. "Enjoy your freedom, Sarah," I said, a smile, a ghost of a smile, touching my lips. "I already signed the papers this morning. Everything is yours." I pushed through the door. The high, brittle laughter I'd heard earlier died instantly. The air went frigid. They had expected an argument, a broken man, a spectacle. They got a transaction. A silent, immediate capitulation that gutted the drama from her planned scene, leaving her standing alone in a spotlight of anticlimax. I walked past them, not a glance, not a word. The house, the marriage, the entire pathetic performance, it was hers. The true cost of her vanity, however, was the loss of her power over me. She had staged a scene to be free. I simply walked away, free from her script. The silence I left behind was heavier than any shout. It was the sound of a lie being exposed, not by anger, but by cold, devastating acceptance. It wasn't revenge, it was subtraction. I stepped into the night air. The cold felt good. I had no pity, only the clean, metallic taste of vindication. She got her freedom, and I got my peace. And tonight, only one of us was truly alone.